Can the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5 be the most versatile prime lens? Can it be my one and only prime lens? Let's find out in today's video. Hey friends, Gary here. Welcome to today's video. I'm a big fan of Micro Four Thirds camera system, and today I would like to revisit the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5. I want to share my thoughts, my experience, and of course share some photos captured using this guy after using it for so many years. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. A little bit of a background, I purchased this 14mm f2.5 back in 2023. I got a really great deal, just under $100 for this particular lens in a used condition, but it's so perfect, no scratches at all, everything was working perfectly. So wow, mind blown, under $100, autofocus lens and great optical quality. What more could you want? At that particular time, I already have the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7. It's a very similar focal length with the 14mm. However, I have this weird obsession about having the smallest and lightest gear, not just for photography but for every other stuff that I have. The smallest pen possible, the smallest phone possible, the smallest backpack possible. So it's only natural for me to succumb into my gear acquisition syndrome and purchase this lens. I do still use the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7 a lot for my photography. It is such a nice lens, especially for everyday photography. However, for travel photography, now I am more inclined to bring the 14mm f2.5 because again, it is smaller, it is lighter, similar focal length. I think this is a great lens for that. Now let's talk about why I think the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5 is the most versatile prime lens ever. And it comes down to two things. First, it's the focal length, and next, it's the aperture. First, let's talk about the focal length, 14mm. I really think this is the best focal length if you can only have one and only one prime lens. I mean, this is very similar to the focal length of most modern day smartphones. So for people who are starting photography with their phone rather than from the analog days, for example, me, I'm starting photography from my phone. I'm already familiar with the 28mm focal length on my phone. So when I grabbed this lens and I started using it, I'm already very familiar with the framing, with how zoomed in, with how zoomed out this particular lens is. And I can just do everything. I can shoot street photography, I can shoot environmental portrait, landscape, sceneries. I can even do food photography with this lens, no problem. I can capture so many things because I am already familiarized with this particular focal length. Yes, this is a little bit on the wider side of things, but if you can get close to a particular subject, you can still get a distortion-free kind of close-up pictures with this lens. I think that is fantastic. Now, of course, the problem of the focal length, 14mm, is that, again, because it is very similar to the focal length of the main camera of modern-day smartphone, then you have to be a little bit creative in order to make something that creates more impact. You have to be more creative with your composition, with your camera angle, because otherwise your photo will look very similar with photos captured using a phone. That's kind of funny. But yeah, I like the idea of being forced to be creative in order to make better photos. Next, let's talk about aperture. And I know what you are saying. Hey Gary, f2.5, that's not too different from f3.5 on most kit lens. You are right. Yes, it's just about one stop difference. But hear me out. I think f2.5 can still provide a little bit more extra horsepower that you need for two things: lower light situation and also to create background blur. Yes, with f2.5 I can still manage to shoot in lower light condition without struggling too much. After all, this is a little bit better from the f2.8 on the pro zoom lenses. And yeah, for background blur, I can still get blurrier background, especially if I can get close to my subject and everything will look pleasant and nice. So yeah, I'm not missing too much in terms of aperture. Yes, sometimes I wish this is f1.7 or f1.8, but in reality f2.5 has been more than enough unless I'm shooting in very extreme conditions. And that's my reasons why I think the 14mm is such a versatile prime lens. Anyway, allow me to share some photos that I captured using the 14mm f2.5 after using it for so many years. Hopefully you will enjoy this slideshow of photos captured using this lens. Anyway, on my initial observation when using the 14mm, I mentioned that this lens can produce a vintage kind of vibe, almost filmic, very organic, a little bit lower in contrast, but in a good way because everything just looks so pleasant and beautiful. However, after using it intensely this last few weeks for my recent trip, I discovered that sometimes under certain lighting condition, especially in bright daylight, blue sky, outdoor, it can also produce a modern kind of look, very high contrast, very clinical, but also in a good way. Nothing is low quality about the image quality of this lens, and the kind of vibe that it can produce I think really depends on the lighting situation. I'm not quite sure, but if you have this lens as well, let me know on the comment down below. What do you think about the vibe of the image, the characteristics of the lens? I wanna learn from your experience as well. But regardless of the vibe of this lens, I am 100% sure that this lens can generate images that are sharp, contrasty, punchy, colors do look nice, and I really enjoy the details and just overall a quality of the photos coming out from this lens. The lens does struggle a little bit in backlight condition, especially when you have a very bright source of light like the sun in the frame, and sometimes it will produce a little bit of purple shadowing, and lens flare could sometimes look distracting, but it's very nitpicking at this point because overall the image quality is really nice. Anyway, look at how small this lens is. It's so tiny. I just love it so much. It's a pancake lens, so as you can see, it is almost flush to the body of the camera. And when you combine this lens with a smaller micro four thirds camera like my G100 right here, you can create a small compact photography setup that is more enticing to use than your smartphone. Right here I have my older smartphone, not my current daily driver, but you get the point. It's not that much bigger compared to my phone. It's not that much heavier when you hold it on your hand compared to your phone. But the camera together with the lens is a dedicated photography tool, a dedicated camera setup. So you can just concentrate on taking pictures. There will be no messaging app, no phone calls, no email, no social media. And I think this is just a much better experience for taking pictures compared to your phone. When you are using your phone, you have to turn on the phone first and then unlock it and then go into the camera app, and then you have to use the touch screen to focus and to capture the photo. It's just not a nice experience. So yeah, Arguably, you can just have the camera hanging around the neck and you'll get more shots, especially if the opportunity arises, compared to if you are using your phone. Your phone will always be in your pocket, but you know, the amount of time required to capture a photo will be much longer rather than if you have a dedicated camera always ready with you at all time. This is what micro four thirds is all about, in my opinion. Being small, being lightweight, but can still produce something that is better than a phone. It is responsive and also very fun to use. The 14mm being a small lens really makes shooting with micro four thirds more enjoyable, and definitely it contributes into that fun factor that I was talking about. You know, having a small setup like this every day with you as an EDC camera, or when you are traveling, this is so enjoyable to use and I just love it so much. I wish more lenses will be produced similar to this one in the future. And that wraps up today's video. So those are all my thoughts and observations and experience of using the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5 after so many years. I think this is such a fantastic lens, and if you are considering this lens, hopefully this video can help you. If not, then hopefully this video can still be entertaining, informative, and inspiring to you as well. But enough about me. What about you? Do you also have the 14mm? And what do you think about it? If you don't have the 14mm, then my question to you is, what is your most versatile prime lens that you have and why? Share on the comment down below. I'd love to learn from you. I always enjoy reading your comments. Anyway, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. And if you want to support my work even further, you can join my Patreon membership for some exclusive benefits. And also you can check out my latest travel photography video course called Simplifying Travel Photography. Check out the affiliate links down below. You will get some discount on select products and services, while at the same time I will get a small kickback to help this channel running. And also don't forget to use the super thanks button down below to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you very much, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.